June 25th, 2017. A lady cut me off on the Ocean Parkway, one exit before my exit. I basically T-boned her. And next thing I know, I woke up and I was blindfolded and tied to a board in an MRI. It was, I ended up breaking both eye sockets, the base of my skull. My left pinky got partially amputated to the wrist. I exploded my T12 vertebrae. I ended up being fused from T10 to L2. I was partially paralyzed for like, I don't know, maybe like a couple of days or something. I spent 3 months in the hospital, 5 months in a wheelchair, and it took me a month and a half to be able to take my first step. My name is Mike Geller. I've been a one-on-one client with Larry Geyer in Active Life for about 2 years. I don't think the doctors ever told me I'd never walk again. They just told my wife and kids. I guess they figured I had enough that I was dealing with at the time. But I couldn't really move my legs. I think it took a couple of days for me to wiggle a toe. Then I was able to start moving my legs a little bit. But they tried to get me up, standing in the hospital. I was able to sit up on the side of the bed, I just couldn't stand. Gradually, I was able to bend my legs. They said I may never walk. I wasn't going to accept that. I wasn't good. Every day I focused on what I could do to get better. I kind of equated to when I was a fireman. If you got stuck in a fire, you're done. So you don't stop. You fight with every fiber of your being to get out. You don't ever give up until you're done. So I kind of used that approach to my recovery. And I started physical therapy on my own. I was going 3 times a week, and then they go all of a sudden, like, okay, your insurance says you're done. So I'm like, I can't stand up. If I fall, how am I supposed to get up? To like crawl to a wall or something. I'm like, what if I fall in a field? You know? They're like, I don't know what to tell you. You can eventually crawl to something. That's when I went to the gym.
Mike came in on 2 crutches, barely able to walk, and joining the gym so that he can use mostly upper body machines to keep himself fit after a horrific accident and a horrible diagnosis that he would likely never walk again.
The lady who signed me up for the gym was like, Larry's a little bit different than the other trainers. You're entitled to a free session, but I want you to go with Larry. So I go with Larry, and I just think it's going to be, this is this machine, that's that machine, this is how you use it.
I told him that if he wanted someone to show him how to use the machines, I wasn't the person, and I should send him to another personal trainer. If he wanted to know how much he could potentially run again, we weren't going to do any of that stuff, and we were going to do things very, very differently.
He simulated getting into a leg press machine. He's like, do you walk in this position? And I'm like, no. He's like, then that's going to build muscle, but it's not going to get you where you need to be for walking.
When Mike signed up with me, he did it under the pretense that he was going to be starting a minimum 6 to 9 month journey in which I was going to be completely dedicated towards maximizing what he could do with his body and reclaiming as much function as he could that many doctors, physical therapists, and coaches told him he would probably never had. So he understood that up front it was going to be several $1,000s, and thereafter it was probably going to be more if we were both interested and convinced that there was a lot of gains to be made.
It was baby steps. We started with step-ups on like a single plate. We did a lot of ancillary muscle activities and core stuff that got to stabilize the things that I could stabilize and get things firing that weren't firing. Little simple, standing exercises and pivoting because my body adapted to stand in a position even though my legs may not have been strong enough to support it. And he was trying to get me out of that and trying to get me in the right posture and in the right position to be able to step properly.
So instead of him focusing on big compound movements like squatting and hinging and pressing, that is very, very common in the conventional fitness world, Mike was focusing on making sure that he can use all of his muscles to start standing effectively, and what needed to happen for him to start taking a step without crutches. Measuring what is he good at now, what is he not good at now, and focusing on all the things that he's not good at to make him able to be a person without hurting.
The first thing was to get me off the floor by myself. So he was the one who taught me how to get off. He's like, lay down on the floor and let's get up. You got to be able to get off in case you fall on the field. And that was the first like milestone. From the step-ups to a treadmill. And he started little bursts, increasing the speed and then going back down, up and down. And then finally it was like, let's try running outside. I was still using the cane at that point, and I never thought I'd be able to run. And we progressed every week, gradually built it up, and until I could go from like, I started like maybe like 5 yards, then 10 and 15, and then, kept going and kept going.
Mike Yeller is one of the most inspiring people I've ever met, period, in that he, from the get-go and every step along the way, rejected every single time someone told him he would not be able to do something, and decided to relentlessly pursue all avenues for opportunity for him to be able to live the kind of life he wanted to live and have the physical freedom that he wanted to have since his injury.
My mentality was, I got to keep pushing to get better. So I was never down on myself, why me, what was me, why does this have to happen? It was always, okay, I'm here, what am I going to do to get there? And Larry was a huge part of getting me to where I am now.